Welcome to the sustainability series, where men didn't just get back in charge, they stayed in charge. Now, for most health transformations, they don't last. Between 80 and 95% of all, people will regain the weight within 2 years. But the men that you're going to meet during this series, they defied those odds. Not just in a perfect environment, but in the real world, whilst working, traveling, raising families, and carrying all the pressure that comes along with being responsible for so much. Today, I'm joined by Thomas Jenkinson, who completed the Back in Charge blueprint nearly 3 years ago. And he has kept the results, his routines, and the identity shift ever since. Now, this conversation isn't about what happened during the program. It's about what happened after. How has Thomas been able to handle the stresses, the setbacks, the travel, the work demands, and everything else that life throws at him, and still stay in charge of his health, his energy, and his life? So let's get into it. Thomas, good to see you. Good to see you. It's been a little while. It's been a little while,
Adam. Yes, and it's great to see you. You're looking good.
Thank you. Thank you. It's the Cyprus sun. It's the Cyprus sun. It helps. It helps. So, Thomas, before we jump into it, could you just introduce yourself? Who are you? Whereabouts in the world are you? And what do you do?
Okay, so I'm Thomas Jenkinson. I'm a dad of 3 children. And I'm a general manager of a home care company. So from my office, we employ about 230, 240 people. So it's a very busy environment. We look after a lot of vulnerable people here. And I'm from Dublin in Ireland, Adam.
You certainly are. You certainly are. We seem to have a little contingency of Dubliners. Is that what you call yourselves, Dubliners, or people from Dublin?
I would normally say a Dublin man. I'm a Dublin man. Okay. Yeah. But the Dubliners is the Dubliners would be.
That's it. That's it. Nice. Nice. Cool. So, Thomas, I want to step back. We're going to step back. We're going to step back 3 years. Okay. And I just wanted to think about it. What was happening in your life when you realized that your health was starting to slip out of your hands?
Okay. Well, I wasn't in great shape. I was quite overweight. Now, anybody I speak to kind of, post my work with you, Adam, say, oh, you weren't really that much overweight, but I was classified as obese, and kind of well into that kind of line. And I had just turned 50, and I was starting to have some health issues. I actually lost sight of my left eye for a period of a week.
That's right.
And both my eyes detached. So I wasn't in a good space physically or mentally at the time because of everything that was going on. It was a very, very difficult period. Like most men, I was very busy, out working, family life. So my focus was on work, it was on the kids, it was on the family, and the one person I had forgotten about was me. I didn't even see it happening. But when I was going through the health issue with regard to my eyes, I was sitting in a chair in one of the rooms in the house, and I kind of said a little prayer to myself to say, if I'm lucky enough to come out of this, that I'm going to make some changes to look after myself. And I've tried to keep that promise to myself. It's not a perfect world, but I've definitely kept that promise to myself.
Perfect. Yeah. I totally forgot. Honestly, you just mentioned it then. I'm like, and I completely forgot that you had that, you lost. I remember, because you're like, I can't see out this eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember I remember us talking about that. So that was going on. When you said you had some health issues, what were the health issues?
Well, that was my main health issue, Adam, and it was quite significant, a significant one because I had 5 operations under general anaesthetic to save my eyesight.
Mm.
My blood pressure was high. I was classified as obese. I was just generally not in great shape.
No.
And it started to manifest itself in physically through the blood pressure. I mean, I don't know for sure what happened to my eyes, but I think hypertension, blood pressure was definitely a factor. So that was really the main issue that I was having.
It is. And that's the thing, it all has an impact. The weight goes up, then the blood pressure goes up, the stresses increase. And like you said, you were putting everything else in front of you, but then you wasn't taking care of yourself.
That's right.
Now what's good is that you actually, like you said, is that if you make it through this, I'm going to make a change. So again, it's like that moment that something happens, which then is a catalyst for change, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Now I just want to ask you a quick question. Like,
Yeah.
if that hadn't have happened, or with the eyesight,
Yeah.
and then you been in that position where you're like, if I get through this, I'm going to make a change. If that hadn't have happened, do you think that you would have made a change, or would you have just kept on going the way it was going?
To be honest, I think I didn't just, it wasn't a switch for me, Adam, because I actually had been following you and probably others like you on LinkedIn for a little bit of time. So I think subconsciously there was an awareness that I needed to make a change. And that had probably been going on for about a year, where I kind of had drifted, that thought process had drifted in and out of my consciousness. I think it started to kind of become very much in my conscious, where I knew I needed to make a change. But the honest answer is, I actually didn't know how to do it. I honestly didn't know how to do it. And I had been attracted to some of your work on LinkedIn. I'd never met you before. From Adam, pardon the pun.
Exactly.
But yeah. So to answer your question, I think I would have got the change, but I think I would have made the change, but I think it probably would have took something like what it took to actually say, right, okay, I need to go now.
Yeah.
But I think I would have eventually got there. But it was definitely it wasn't just that moment. This had been on my mind for 12 months for sure.
Yeah. Nice. And that's the thing. So it was you were aware of it in the background, but you just wasn't ready to, or you didn't, like you say, you didn't know what to do.
Well, yeah, I hadn't actioned it. I think I definitely wanted to action it, but I didn't know how to action it.
And that's fine. A lot of the guys, they just don't know. And that's and that's the thing. They just don't know what you don't know what you don't know, and that's fine.
And Adam, I think if I'm not mistaken, and I think you'll remember this, when I initially contacted you and we jumped on a call, you asked me what I was looking for from this, and I think my reply was, well, I'm looking for a little bit of weight gain or weight loss. But more than that, probably this was 80% of what I was looking for. I was looking for the tools to be able to manage myself after the 12 weeks. In other words, after you had gone. So I didn't want to just go on this 12-week program and do well and then come off and then slip back. Nice. So I think I actually used the words, I'm looking to be educated.
Yeah. And that's it. And you have been,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. So previous to you doing the Back in Charge blueprint, what had you tried in the past? What had you tried beforehand?
Yeah, well, I tried the gyms, obviously, over the years. That didn't work. In my younger years, I had done a lot of running. And, that's, as you go through life, that amount of commitment, it just wasn't sustainable. and I had tried, cutting out carbs, the usual stuff that everybody tries, Adam. Um, but and I had some success with all of those things over the years, but none of them were sustainable. Cutting out carbs or out running 6 nights a week or 7 nights a week, or 7 days a week. When I entered this a certain phase in my life, with children and mortgages and yeah, I think that all the focus just went on that.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's it. And I remember at the time as well, work as well, because
yeah.
you was CEO at the time, weren't you? And
COO, yeah,
sorry, COO, sorry,
yeah.
apologies. And you also had a 2-hour commute each way, wasn't it?
That's right. I was 2 hours up and 2 hours back, so I was, and in reality, the 2 hours back was more 2.5 hours. I was 4.5 hours in the car every day. Yeah, and not yeah, it wasn't a great decision. That decision in itself.
Yeah.
Um,
But at the time you do what you feel is right for yourself and the family, don't you? And your career.
that's exactly it. Yeah,
That's it.
that's exactly it. And this is what men tend to do, Adam.
They do. They do. So you came into the Back in Charge Blueprint.
Hmm.
What was your experience of the Back in Charge Blueprint, and
Hmm.
what about it actually surprised you?
Well, if I just take a step back on the first call that I had with you, and
Mm,
you went through everything with me, and obviously I'd never met you before, and you had asked me a very direct question. You had said to me, "Right, are you ready to go?"
mm,
And this was where I was in the moment where I was expected to take out the bank card, and kind of pay up. And I had said to you, um, look, Adam, I've never met you before in my life. How do I know you're not just going to take my money and run off with it, and I'll never see you again? And I think your exact words to me were, "You don't, you don't,
exactly. You don't.
you don't." And I really liked that answer. I really liked that answer because there was an honesty to it. But I think you had followed it up with to say, "I have your back." And it's fair to say you did have my back. Before I went into the program. So your question, Adam, was around kind of what was my experience like in it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What? How did
Okay.
you find the blueprint?
I found it fabulously ordinary and brilliant. It was it was it was so simple. It was stupid, right? Right. It was and it was I remember the first call with you and the second call with you, and I remember thinking there has to be more to this, because the first call was around the basics around breakfast and that. And I remember saying to you, what about lunch or dinner? And you said, let's focus on, and it was just step by step. Um, so I found it, I found it kind of, I don't want to say easy. It's the wrong word to use,
Mm.
but it was just simple. It was just simple, and it was easy to understand and simple. And overall I enjoyed it because you took me through the process step by step, and you built the blocks up slowly. And there was a point at which very early on I was thinking, just there has to be more to it than this. And then you just layered it all on when it was required.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Like with
Mm.
what you're saying, it's simple. It's so simple. It's like so simple. It's stupid. And you're going through it, and your mind is thinking, well, hang on, there's got to be more to it. But this is what you've said there is what a lot of people do,
Mhm.
right? And this is how they sabotage themselves,
Yeah.
because you're getting results by doing something very, very simple. You know, the way we structure it, the way we plan the program out for you is very, very simple. It's a step-by-step process. But for a lot of people do when they try to work things out themselves is, even though they're getting results, they think they should be doing a hell of a lot more. You know, they feel that they should be, you know, like you were saying, well, what about breakfast? Sorry, what about lunch and dinners when we're just focusing on breakfast? No, hang on. Slow it down.
Mm-hmm.
They try to overcomplicate things.
Yeah. And you, I feel I got an education around the nutritional bits, which were kind of, you'd expect that off a program like this. But my knowledge around kind of protein and fiber and fats, you know, the whole process just gave me I call it the technical knowledge to do the job. You gave me the technical tools to do the job. But I think more importantly than that, one of the big lessons that I learned was not to expect perfect of yourself, to allow yourself to have a bad meal, or you know, a bad meal is even the wrong word, but to overindulge yourself, allow yourself to have a bad day, or even a bad week, or sometimes it could be a bad month. But at some point, I think you used to call it, and excuse my language, you used to call it, you know, the fuck it stage, you know, and the most important thing was to get out of the fuck it stage as quick as you can, and not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And it was that whole mental space of kind of, yeah, just accepting yourself that this isn't going to be a straight line, that this is going to be ups and downs, and there'll be stuff going on in your life where you'll kind of veer a little bit off, but you know how to drive back onto the road. And I tend to do that quicker and quicker now. And even when I'm talking to other people, when they're having similar kind of negative conversations about themselves now, you know, it's just, okay, well, you can't change the past. You just get back on the road as quick as you can. So I think those lessons above the technical lessons around the protein management and the, you know, getting enough fiber and you know, you're watching your saturated fats, and then building the one of the big lessons I learned was building this into your life, and not building this on top of your already busy life. So making this part of what you do day to day, so it fits in your life, and not this added extra thing that you need to do. My breakfast routine hasn't changed in nearly 3 years since I've been with you. I get up every morning and I follow the same routine with breakfast. It's unbelievable. It's the strongest part of my routine.
Good.
And
sorry, I'm smiling, Thomas. Sorry, I'm smiling because my little one, sorry, not my little one, Reese, my middle one, this morning, like, you know, we're having eggs for breakfast, and she's having egg, you know, she's sat down, she's got the eggs in front of her, and she's like, oh, why do we have the same thing every single day? You know, as any 5-year-old, you know, he's like, well, what? She's like, well, what do you want? She's like, I don't know. Like, but that's the thing, isn't it? Like you say, it's just a routine.
The routine. It's the habit. It's the habit. And now, and it's funny then, because when I have breakfast on a Saturday or a Sunday, I might have a variation on that. But my choices are obviously just, they're different, but they're still within the same framework.
Yeah.
But it still feels like a treat because it's different. But I actually really enjoy my Monday to Friday breakfast. Still. But because, you know, one of the things that you did was, I always remember you never told me what to eat or not what to eat. You always asked, what do you like? What do you like? What do you like to eat? And it was that kind of self-management. You never gave me a bit of paper to say, yeah, no, you have to have this for breakfast or that for lunch or that for dinner. It was about choices, and I kind of love that about the whole program. That
Good.
and Adam, just before you jump in, this whole piece of this fitting into your life is so important. Like I work probably on a no traffic day about 25 minutes, 20 minutes from my office, and on a traffic day that could be 40 minutes. But I'm now, and this only happened in the last probably 6 months. I've now built walking into the office 2 or 3 weeks, or 2 or 3 times a week into the office, and it takes me 50 minutes to get in and 50 minutes to get home, because I need to build to keep the habit of the exercise going. So I've already walked in once this week. Now on a traffic day, I could be 40 minutes in the car, right? If the traffic is bad, so I can walk in 50 minutes, right? So I literally get up in the morning and I look out the window and I kind of judge it then and see, can I walk in today? And it's all about those small changes, and the small changes that I've made in my home, to having a little bit of fitness equipment in the house, and to kind of not having structured routines, but trying to say, okay, well, I'm going to do a little bit today, or I'm going to do a little bit tomorrow, and it's that habit of doing a little bit more often and not a lot intermittently.
Would you say though that has fundamentally come from how we structured how we created the blueprint for you and all the other men, instead of us telling you what to do, but by us asking you, well, what do you like, and making it fit for you? Do you think that has also helped you now get to this point where, you know what, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna walk to work instead of having to walk to work?
Yeah, 100%, Adam. I mean, I think over the course of the 12 weeks with you, I think I had lost something like 36 pounds, and then, or 36 pounds.
36, and then
Yeah,
you then did
and
another
then I lost a
60.
little bit more. I lost a little bit more after, and there's times where I put a little bit back on, and I go through that phase. But without any shadow of a doubt, and I still talk about the support on your program to people. I still talk about it to various people. I still pass your name on to people who kind of would talk to me about struggling, and I only do that for one particular reason. It's because of the impact it's had on me, and the positive impact that it's had on me. And I really like what you do and how you do it. I didn't know you before the program, and we have a kind of a, I don't know, like some kind of a friendship after, but we're not great friends. So I've nothing in this other than admiration for what you do and how you do it, and it was successful. So to answer your question directly, I wouldn't have done any of that, and I wouldn't have any of the thought processes that I have now if it wasn't for the 12 weeks that I had done with you.
Nice. So we've talked about the positive things that have sort of happened since the program for you, like you've been able to manage the way you've now started to walk into work, and all of those positive things. But what challenges would you say have come up, like over the past 3 years? Because that's quite a long time, right? What challenges have come up for you since finishing the Back in Charge blueprint, and how were you able to handle them differently?
Yeah, so the challenges are life, Adam. So life is always there and in the way, and there's always stuff going on in life. I mean, my wife's mum is sick at the moment. We have a lot going on. I'm in a busy job. My wife is in a busy job, and it's trying to maintain the consistency and not to lose the habits. That's always a challenge. It's an everyday challenge, but they just have become part of my mindset, and I'm not perfect at them by any means, but they have become part of my mindset. That thing of, you know what, geez, I didn't do any kind of weights this week, and I need to do something. Or, do you know what, I overindulged the last few days, you know, because they're family over or friends or whatever. We've had nights out, so it's that challenge of the consistency. And I'm not talking about consistency every day, but being more consistent than not. And so, yeah, that's, you know, and you know, when you're with you and you have the 12 weeks with you, you have that support, you have the call, you know, you were always there. And to be fair, every now and then if I text you, you'll always reply. Um, but so you kind of leave that 12 weeks and you're kind of on your own, and it's about maintaining those habits, because it's very easy to slip into the old habits.
Mm.
And I do sometimes, but I'm always comfortable in the back of my mind going, I know I have the tools, I know what to do.
That's it. That's it.
And
It's, you've got that awareness now,
yeah,
haven't you?
yeah,
You know, I think, you know, if we just look at it, you know, like in the program we talk about two paths, don't we?
yeah,
We talk about your default path, which is the path that everyone's on. You know, if we don't follow anything, if we just carry on through life, we're going to end up in this direction. You know, like for you, if you were carried before the program, your weight was increasing, the blood pressure was increasing, you know, all of that was going on. And that's just the way that you were, you know, the way that most men are going. But then we've got the second path, the path of choice, which is a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder to stay on. But like you say, it's like we sometimes we just lean back over to it, don't we? Back over to
yeah.
our default path, not through choice,
Hmm.
but it's just because it's familiar. You know, it's like we don't want to go there because we know we don't want to be there, but we just go there because it's familiar. It feels like we're used to how it feels.
It's easier.
It's easy, yeah. Well, it's easier in the moment,
Yeah.
but long term, it's not easier.
Yeah, and you used to say this thing to me, and I still repeat it. I still repeat it to people. You know, people talk about doing what you have to do to keep yourself right being hard.
Mm.
And you talked a lot about, and you do in your posts a lot about, which hard are you going to choose, right? Because being unfit, unhealthy, having low energy, getting sick, and dealing with all of that is hard.
Mm. It's hard
Right?
now.
It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard now.
But it'll be even harder in the future.
It'll be even harder in the future. And it was that choice about which hard are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the hard of trying to do the right thing and trying to change some of your habits and trying to, you know, go down the right path? Or are you going to choose the hard of managing your decline over a period of time?
Yeah.
So which hard are you going to choose? And that is a choice.
Everything's a choice.
Everything is a choice.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So Thomas, how would let's take it to the people around you now. Okay, so like family, friends, work colleagues, and all of that. What would they say that would they have seen as the improvement that you've made since finishing the program?
Yeah, well, there's the obvious one about, you know, especially in the you know, I don't know, the first 12 months or year and a half of it, where people comment on your weight, or you know, you're looking well. Jesus, what have you been doing?
Mm.
And then, you know, it's just that little bit more, I think, happiness, that people kind of might recognize in you. You're just happier because you're happier in yourself. For me anyway, Adam, I don't know about other people, but for me, there's a psychology of when you're looking after yourself, when you're doing the right thing, if you're putting the right food in your mouth or you're doing your exercises, that there's a psychology, you're telling yourself in that moment that you care about yourself. And when you're in the busyness of life and you're looking after the kids and you have to, your work is your priority and all that kind of lovely stuff. It's yourself that sometimes loses out, or most of the time loses out. And you're effectively sending a signal to yourself that you're not a priority and you don't, and that has an impact on you. And you don't even realize it has an impact on you, but it does have an impact on you. So apart from all of those people noticing it and kind of making the comments around your confidence or your happiness, but psychologically yourself actually notices it, and it's nearly your unconscious self. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course,
Notice
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit like it's a bit like me and Kerry say. It's like if you say you're going to do something, then you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't do it, once you've said it, what you're doing is you're telling your subconscious that you're not a priority.
Yeah. And I done that for years, a long time, and I didn't even know I was doing it. And when I do the right things now, when I have the breakfast, when the wife comes down on a Saturday morning and she's putting on the few sausages and the rashers for the kids and all that kind of lovely stuff, and I think one of the things you used to say, allow yourself to have treats and etc. But even when you have what you consider to be the those treats, try to make a healthy choice even within that choice. So when I kind of don't, when I'm out and I don't overindulge and I'm kind of trying to I'm having the fish instead of the steak, or don't get me wrong, I have steak as well, right?
Good. Good.
And when you're having the veg instead of the chips, you definitely kind of feel pleased with yourself, and you've sent a very small signal to yourself that you're still looking after yourself.
That's it.
It might seem insignificant, but it's important.
Yeah, that's it. Like you say, it's just sending yourself a little signal that, I do care about you.
Yeah.
I do care about myself.
Yeah.
So that's good. So would you say then that where you are now is a contrast from where you were 3 years ago?
Without a shadow of a doubt. I joined your program in, I think it was late November, actually.
It was December.
Was it December?
It was actually December.
Yeah.
It was it was actually very close to, like now, actually. It was very close to now, actually.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Now again, even that, Thomas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like making a conscious decision to make a change now, like as it's so close to Christmas, when most men are switching off.
Yeah.
Or if not, they already have switched off. Like how, for you, how did you come to make that decision when it could have just been easier, just go, oh, you know what, I'm just going to start in January?
Yeah. Well, two things. That promise that I made to myself when I was sitting in that chair, when my left eyesight was gone, and I knew there was a high risk that my right eye was going to go as well. And when after 5 operations within the space of 15 months under general anesthetic to try save my eyesight, and when I made that promise to myself, so that promise was at the forefront of my mind. But also, I think when I had that call with you, and I remember having that call with you, I just trusted you. I don't know whether this is an Irish saying or a kind of a general saying, but I like the cut of your jib, right? And I just thought, no, this is the moment. I was looking for somebody that I could trust to do what I needed to be done. And when I had that call with you, I found it. So I was just ready to press the button. And Adam, I was in with my consultant for my eyes probably about 2 weeks ago, or less than 2 weeks, ago, just an annual checkup, given everything that's kind of gone on. And they do in-depth tests and scans on my eyes now. It's not just a light in the eye job. And my eyes are in excellent health still. Now, because of the damage that was done to this eye, that's always going to be there. But they said to me, my eyes have not deteriorated. I still have 20/20 vision in this eye, and this eye had actually improved a little bit, which I was surprised in. But one of the things that they said to me that kind of struck with me, that I was extremely happy with myself, was they said to me that the nerves in your eye look considerably healthier. The nerves in your eye look considerably healthier. So they said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Right? So
that just shows exactly that what you're doing is having a positive effect, not only on how you feel generally, energy wise, sleep's improved, confidence is going up, and you're looking, you're feeling good in your clothes.
Yeah.
But at a cellular level, things are improving because of the work that you are doing.
Yeah. And I still repeat that in my head, what that consultant said to me. The nerves in your eyes look considerably healthier.
Amazing.
Right? And I do think that's amazing. And I was at the doctor about a month ago, because I these are all the little things, believe it or not, that I do now to look after myself, and it was all on the back of the 12-week program. So now I got getting regular checkups, and I went to the doctor and I got all my bloods checked.
Good.
And I was with him probably about 2.5 weeks ago, and he just said to me, your weight is a little bit less than it was last year. You're doing whatever you're doing, keep doing it. All your bloods, he said to me, are perfect. So he said, there's very few patients that come in here that I can't give out to. And he said, but you're one of them. So he said, you keep doing what you're doing. Right? And don't get me wrong, Adam, as I said to you, it's not a perfect world. There's days where I fall off and I go off, I overindulge and all that. Yeah.
Good. Right. Good.
And that's a lesson. That's a lesson that I learned as well, is not to guilt trip yourself into when you do it.
No, it's a choice. Right? It's a choice, right? It's a choice. You've made a decision to do it. Cool. Then it's your decision to then get back on track.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of that, some of what I learned in the 12 weeks isn't just about nutrition. Most of what I learned in the 12 weeks was not about nutrition. I learned life lessons in the 12 weeks.
Like what? Like what?
The positive psychology, Adam, about the importance of looking after yourself. You used to ask me questions like, okay, so, what's your day look like? What's your week look like? What's your month look like? And it was all about, the family. It was all about work. It was all about everything other than myself. Right? It was, so, I became more important to myself on the back of the 12 weeks. Not being overly hard on yourself when you fall off the wagon. It's very easy if you have a bad few days or a bad week, it's very easy, very, very easy to say, feck it. Sure, I've ruined it now.
Yeah.
Very easy to do that. But I take that into my work. I take that into my family life. And even the whole, progress, not perfection piece. I take that into my work. I take that into my family life.
So let's just look at the professional life at the moment. Okay, the work life. Like, for as we connected via LinkedIn. And that's where, like 95% of the men that come through the Back in Charge Blueprint, they all come via LinkedIn. But a lot of people go, well, why? Like LinkedIn's a professional site. What is a health program doing on LinkedIn? For you, like what benefits have you seen from doing the Back in Charge Blueprint? What benefits have you seen? What impact has the Back in Charge Blueprint had on your professional career?
Well, it gives you more energy. Well, I speak for myself. I have more energy. I have more confidence, and it's also that realization. And I think we had this conversation way back when. It's also that realization that all that time and effort that you put into your family and worrying about mortgages and all that, but you are your own earning ability. So if something happens to you that incapacitates you, right? The very thing that you've been doing to look after your family is probably the worst thing that you've ever done. Because actually, now you'll find yourself in a situation where you mightn't be able to work, right? And you mightn't be able to support those people, that the ones that you were working incredibly hard to support. So it's that whole piece around. I mean, I really like my job. I love my job, and it's really busy. And I'm, at the moment, as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm very tired and all that lovely stuff. But it's that kind of realization that if I'm going to, have longevity in my work life and longevity in my earnings and longevity in what I like to do, well, then I need to look after myself. So, and no matter what level you're operating at, if you want to go out to work and earn a living for you and your family, and you like what you do, well, then you need to look after your body to do that, and you need to look after your head to do that. So, I mean, you're running a business on LinkedIn. Your business is helping men get back on track to to lose the weight, but also sustain that weight loss, and right. And for those people who are on LinkedIn like me, that's a choice. If somebody's following you and they need help, I would say they just they need to reach out to you, and have that conversation with you, because being healthy is it's not just about something that it benefits you at home.
Right.
It benefits you in all aspects of your life. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And Thomas, one final question, okay?
Hmm.
For any men that are watching this and they might feel stuck and out of control, what would you want them to know?
Yeah, so I kind of bringing myself back here to when I was in that situation where I had to make the decision, because obviously you're running a business and you have to get paid for the work that you do, it's that investment piece, right? And I always say that the money I spent with you for that 12 weeks has been the best money that I've ever spent. And I say that genuinely, and if I didn't mean it, I would not say it. Right? And that those 12 weeks have given me the confidence in myself, even when I end up in some bad moments. They've given me the confidence in myself to know that I know what to do, I know what I need to do, and then it's just up to me to choose to do it. So I would say to anybody who's listening to this, invest in yourself. If you're in that moment where you're overweight or your health is going south, invest in yourself, because if you don't, that's going to catch up on you, and the very people that you're trying to protect will be in a worse situation. So you're worth it, as L'Oreal says. Just do it.
Nice. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. And I'm just so happy, you know, that I just love seeing you guys. You know, that's why I'm doing this series. It's just checking in and just, you know, just connecting with you again. You know, it's like you know, I totally forgot where you were at because I'm just all I see is you now. You know, I forgot 3 years ago where you were actually at, you know,
Yeah.
and what was actually going on because you forget about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah, it's been-
I don't, and I'm going to say it one last time, Adam. I was told that the nerves in my eyes are considerably healthier than they were 3 years ago. And if I hadn't done the work that I done with you, I would not be in that place. And God knows where that would have
where
ended
you
up.
be exactly.
Where that would ended up.
No, exactly. And you know, that's where you need to be proud of yourself for making a decision, right? Making a decision, making that brave, conscious decision. Because like you said, you didn't know who I was from Adam.
No.
Like you didn't know that I was just gonna take the money, right? Cheers, Thomas, and then go missing. You didn't. But you took that decision, you put trust in me. So thank you for that. But also you put trust in yourself. And that's what's really important here. So well done, Thomas.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Adam, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Right.
So thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the sustainability series. Now, most men don't struggle to lose weight. They struggle to keep it off, especially when life is busy, stressful, and unpredictable. So what you heard today was Thomas's experience. You heard that long-term change is possible, even for men who once believed that it may not have been. Now, if something is in this conversation resonated, or if you've been like Thomas and you've been holding on everything else together, and then you just find that your own health is slipping away into the background, then this is your reminder that you can take back control and make that change and fundamentally keep it off. Now, I'm Adam Alexander. Thank you for watching the sustainability series, where men don't just get back in charge, they stay in charge.